Hello, this is Jimmy Mitchell, and we are back with another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored podcast, going over all the posts on the Libertarian Uncensored subreddit. Let's get right into it. First, we have, what's the difference between a real $100 and this counterfeit one I found on my walk this morning? And I posted that, and I said, what did I say? I said, probably as legitimate as an actual one by this point. You know, the thing is that the state, it's when the state prints money, it's law, but when the individual does it, it's crime. It's another example of pirates and emperors. When the state does something, it's justified and legal, but when the individual does something, it's a crime. So that's important to remember. And I also said, what else did I say? I said, gold and lead, they're different materials. One guy said, "Oh, what about gold and lead?" They are just determined by societal value. And I said the difference is that gold and lead are different materials. These are both paper. And the thing is that one comes from the state printer and the other comes from the private printer, and that's why they get their value. Who owns the printer they come out of? That's how I think I would say. Then we have black student suspended over his hairstyle, it to be sent to an alternative education program from NBCNews.com, and that's from FlimsyL5563. And I personally think I think that's a good reason why we should not be having a centralized schooling system. We need to decentralize and put and support school choice because I like this one comp by BHKMB. Another reason to separate school from the state. We gotta have separate school from the state and have everyone have their go to whatever school they want, and the schools can make whatever rules they want. I would say, but if they make a stupid rule like this, I think people should be free to call them out on it. I would say. Then we have Israel, white phosphorus used in Gaza, Lebanon, from HRW.org by Frosty Slawman. And I said, I remember in the 2010s when they wanted to push that Assad was using chemical weapons in order to push for greater U.S. involvement in Syria. Don't fall for it here either. Then we have Mike Rogers, Republicans need Democrats to elect Speaker from AL.com by Donald Key. And I definitely think, I don't think they're going to elect a Democrat Speaker, but, the thing is that I think it was probably going to make more ballots in the January election. But January election went 15 ballots. This could go like 20 or 25. I think eventually they'll probably settle for Jim Jordan, but we'll see what happens. I don't think he's going to be too different either, though, despite how hyped up they're making him. Then we have the prospect of having an AI president from Powerful JRE, and I posted that, and I said like with any president, I don't think I would trust it, but I do think the first non-human president might be closer than people realize. Then we have Zelensky terrified West will forget Ukraine from Breaking Points on YouTube, and I posted that, and I said, definitely looks like it has kind of happened. Very much shows the current mentality of the news media. Then we have California creates ebony alert for missing black woman children. Here's how it works from usatoday.com. And I posted that. And I said, such an ball policy. Why would we need another program? We already had the Amber Alert. This isn't, and then I posted some text from the article. This isn't California's first alert to address racial disparities and missing people of color. Newsom signed the Federal Alert bill last year that Assemblymember James C. Ramos D. San Bernardino, assistant to the Serrano Cocohuila tribe, wrote to help locate endangered indigenous people. And I added, it really feels like we live in a South Park episode. And I also added, wouldn't it be better to modify the Amber Alert in that instance rather than just have a new one for blacks only? I guess you couldn't play it poll that way. I guess the LGBTQ alert, Rainbow Alert, will be next. Then we have peer censorship. EU sends Musk warning letter to remove disinformation on X from system update on Glenn Greenwald on YouTube, and I posted that and I said, scary stuff. We shouldn't be justifying having the state being able to find what is true or not. I don't care for someone like Elon Musk and what is true or not either, but he's not in a position of state authority, and that's important to remember. Then we have France bans all pro-Palestinian demonstrations from BBC, and I posted that, and I said, really stupid and authoritarian, even if I don't personally care for Palestine and Hamas. Don't be Dave Rubin here. Dave Rubin said, oh, peaceful. Last year he tweeted, "Oh, peaceful protest is now illegal in Canada." When the trucker convoy happened, now he's tweeting, "Maybe the West has a chance in response to this." I think you can't be like that. You can't be saying, we need to support we need to support freedom of expression and association for those we support, but not those we despise. I do as non-conscious because we don't believe in freedom of speech for those we despise. We don't believe in it at all. We gotta the state can justify labeling anything. You can't have the paradox of tolerance either, because I think the state can justify labeling anything it doesn't like as intolerant and ban all dissent as a result. Then we have authoritarian Republican Christian nationalists are infiltrating schools to make them anti-LGBTQ. Report from theadvocate.com by ChaiTunnel20. And I personally don't know how true that is, but if you want to just think that's happening, I guess you should be able to. But I personally think that's how I think schools should be open about what they teach, and that's why I don't really care for the school system as it is currently, because they seem to be very closeted about what they teach and their agendas they're pushing on people. Then we have It's All About Provoking Your Reaction from Libertarian Institute. That's an article by Scott Horton. I like Scott Horton. I said, it's always something. The USS Maine, the Gulf of Tonkin, WMDs in Iraq, chemical weapons in Syria, etc. The behead babies in the Israel-Palestine conflict are just the latest in a long line of ways to justify pushing for U.S. involvement in war. I know how the big media consortium can manipulate public opinion. As someone who saw it happen as a young child of Iraq, this one guy says, oh, you don't understand history. No, he's the one who doesn't understand history. I understand history because, they're trying to justify U.S. intervention. They already got the USS Gerald R. Ford over there, and that's something that, I don't think we should be doing. And I also think they're trying to push for war with Iran because they say, oh, this Hamas is all funded by Iran. And now I don't think that would be good either, I would say. Then we have Steve Scalise drops out of Speaker's race as House GOP faces leadership crisis from CNN.com. And I posted that and I said, wonder if they will go for Jim Jordan now and how many ballots he will take to get in. I personally don't think he'll be as different as people think he's going to be. Even if he does get in, though, his tenure is probably not going to be too short, because I think the Dems are likely going to take back the House in next November, but we'll see what happens, I guess. Then we have progressivism driving speed limit, and that's a tweet from Michael Mallison. It's a speed limit sign from 85, and it's his response to an article from the American Conservative magazine. The time has come for the right to discover the greatness of the New Deal and to improve it. And I said, definitely why I'm more of a libertarian than a conservative. Conservatism has been shown to conserve nothing. The New Deal was supposed to be the worst thing ever for conservatives back in the 1930s. Now they're pushing to justify it. So, the thing is, it's just, conservatives can conserve anything, and that's something you're definitely seeing here. Then we have This quote is so relevant with the current context of Israel versus Palestine, and that's a crosspost from the Palestine subreddit by International Silver One. And it says, if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed, allowing people who are doing the oppressing. From Malcolm X on, it's the quote. And I think I guess you can just say that, yeah, but I personally think there's tons of bad behavior on both sides, and that's important to remember. The idea that war is essentially going to have war crimes on all sides, and that's something people need to remember as well, I would say. Then we have Netanyahu. We know what you've been trying to do all along, from International Silver One, that's crossed from the Palestine subreddit. And yeah, I definitely don't like Netanyahu. I think he's trying to really push for this war, and that's why I've never really cared for him. And then we have today's Garfield struck me as very libertarian. That's from GoComics.com, and that's Garfield talking with Arlene. And he says, Garfield says to stay healthy, eat more and move less. And Arlene says, eat less and exercise more. And Garfield says, you do you, I'll do me. I think that's a very libertarian ethos. And I said, whatever you want to justify doing to your body is your business. I personally don't think you should be obese, but if you want to be and celebrate it, that is on you. You could argue that Garfield was one of the first heroes of the body positivity movement in that regard. Then we have AOC on Israel war crimes from imagery.com by Humanitas Anteodum. And that is a tweet from her, and this is collective punishment and violation of international law. We cannot starve nearly a million children to death for their reactions of Hamas who discover Israeli Palestinian like war would be more clear. Let's draw a line. And I guess I would agree there, but sometimes, war isn't friendly, and that is something you need to remember in instances like this. Both sides are probably committing tons of war crimes right now, but only one side, only the loser gets charged with the war crimes, the winner doesn't. Whoever controls the narrative, I like this one comment by what's his name? I think it's getting lucky, who tweeted, "She isn't wrong. She also loves collective punishment. Fits her agenda, though." And I would agree with that. People don't like collective punishment, and it doesn't fit the agenda. But that's important to remember. They like him when it does. It's whatever the narrative says. People will justify. Then we have Donald Trump told his court he has no duty to support the U.S. Constitution from theindependent.com by Donald Key. And I said, what did I say? I said, glad he's honest about it at least. None of them have shown that they really care for the Constitution. They all swore an oath, but they all swore an oath, but they don't seem to care for it either. And that's something that's important to remember. Then we have wanted Speaker of the House must lie about the 2020 election from Vice.com by Patan 13. And, I guess if you want to justify, I don't really care for Speaker of the House, but, if they want to justify voting in whoever, I don't think it really matters. It's just a ceremony of public position, if anything, I would say at this point. Because, really, they're not, the House of Representatives is running the country. That's more of the CIA, FBI, NSA, the rest of the deep state, I would say. Then we have an Alabama woman was imprisoned by a authoritarian, theocratic Republican regime for endangering her fetus. They forced her to give birth in a jail shelter from TheGuardian.com, and that's by Channel 20. And I definitely think that's overly authoritarian, I would say. Then we have Harvard gets worst score ever in Fire's college free speech rankings from Fire.org, and I posted that, and I said, sometimes you have to laugh at the absurdity of it all, and I linked to a tweet from NWokeness. He tweeted, Harvard President Claudia Gay reacts to pro-Hamas demonstrations on campus. Our university embraces a commitment to free expression. The commitment extends views that many of us find objectionable or outrageous. We do not punch or sanction people for expressing such views. And then it also links to a story from Washington Post. Harvard withdraws 10 emphasis for offensive memes in private group chat. So, it's just important to remember, that they're only they're using that excuse because, they can justify it when it's the in-group's doing the speech and not the out-group, I would say. The Harvard president gives two spit shits about free speech and is only using it as an excuse since people are going after members of the in-group for it. Then we have 25 states are pushing far-right ideology in high schools from CNBC.com by Comrade Prodholm, and that's 25 states have introduced personal finance education legislation so far this year. And I personally wouldn't consider that far-right, but on Reddit it probably is considered far-right, so that's something that's important to remember as well. Then we have POV, a Redditor justifying violent civilians from Titan20, and that's a crossword from the TikTok cringe subreddit. And I said, very Reddit of them. This place loves justifying violent actions when they support the narrative. And I think we're gonna wrap it up there, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.